Our special guest during this portion of the program, the head coach of the number 6 ranked team in the nation in women's college basketball, Karen Aston, is with us. And it's not like your national ranking had been put on the line the last couple of ball games.
Oh, it sure has been. I tell you what, I could have used some of Charlie's guys last night against Mississippi State because I felt like we were playing a football game.
It was quite a bit different from the game Sunday in Knoxville against Tennessee.
It was a lot different, and I think from a perception standpoint, everybody would have thought Tennessee would be a little tougher to play, but honestly, the Mississippi State game was the toughest game we've had all year by far. And I think you could see that.
Yeah, and not only that, Karen, there was benefits, I guess, accrued by both. One, winning a road game at a tough traditional national power like Tennessee, and then trying to fight through the physicality of a game like you had last night.
Well, I think it was a good test, and I told the players that before we started the game last night. I said, this is we took a real tough road test, and it was a good one for our team because last year I didn't think we were very good on the road, and we had some games that really we let slip away, and so we really focused on talking about being a better road team, but then we came back, and 2 days later we have to play really probably at this point a little bit of a better team. And it was a test, I thought, of could we regroup? Did we have the maturity really to come back from a great win, what everybody would perceive as one, and then reset and play well against really a good team? You
had a huge game from Amani Boyette in the win over Mississippi State. By her standards, I think she even described it to me, her performance against Tennessee, as she described, was kind of ho-hum in that respect. And Amani says...
She looked a little ho-hum in the game if you watched her, but she was huge, really, to be honest with you. We played a little bit of a sagging man, which is unusual for our team, against Tennessee, and she sort of was a free safety, I guess you would call in football terms, but she just kind of roamed the paint, and it was one of those game plan that really played to her advantage, honestly, because she doesn't like running around too much, and so she sort of roamed the paint and did a great job of it, actually.
I got to share this one moment because there was a point during the game in Tennessee where she was a little late getting to a position, and there was a backdoor cut, and somebody scored for Tennessee, and she's going back down the floor. Tina Thompson, the newest addition of the Texas coaching staff, leaps off the bench, and you hear her screaming at the top of her lungs, "Amani, pay attention!" and just doing all of that. And Fran Harris is working the broadcast with me, and she's just laughing all the way through. And I said, I'll give you a chance to explain the laughter in a moment. Then.
Right.
But that's kind of the addition that Tina has also given your coaching staff.
Oh, it's been a huge addition. It's somebody that I think, first of all, the players have such a tremendous respect for. We all do, just for the way that she played the game and her wealth of knowledge, just from 17 years of being in the WNBA and gold medal teams and all of that.
All-time leading scorer.
Yeah, I mean, she brings a wealth of experience and knowledge, and so she immediately gets their attention. And you're talking about the best power forward that ever played the game, and she brings to the table really some nuances that we obviously didn't have before, not having her, but her mentorship has been terrific too. So she's been able to sort of hold Imani accountable and other post players accountable in a different way than what I have to do.
I was going to ask you, and it sounds like you've already kind of answered it a little bit, but I'll let you go forward with this. The biggest difference between last year, when you had some huge non-conference wins, Stanford obviously comes to mind. There were Tennessee. There were big non-conference wins. And this year, where you've got big non-conference wins, the problem was last year when you got into conference play, and there were some injuries also, and that played a part in it, but there were some struggles in conference play. What's the biggest mental, if there is, difference between as you're getting closer to the start of conference play at the end of this month as opposed to last year?
Well, I think last year, Craig, we were so excited about being sort of in the hunt. We had not been ranked as high. At one point we were number 3 in the country last year, undefeated in non-conference play. And I think none of the players had experienced that before. A lot of media attention, all of that stuff that goes along with it, but it was new to them. And I think they didn't exactly know how to handle the highs. And then all of a sudden, a few lows came, and we didn't know how to handle those either. And so one of the focuses of this team from the very get has been, we know we're going to have some good times, and we know that we have capabilities of being a really good team, but let's take one day at a time. And if something good happens, let's go to the next day. Something bad happens, let's go to the next day. And I think they've done a pretty good job of that. And the other thing they know is that we have several players that are coming off some injuries. So we had 4 that had off-season surgery. Ann Imani didn't have surgery, but she sat out all summer just to rest her leg. So we're not where we need to be, and we all know that. And so for us to have some success right now, probably not being at tip-top shape, or not being as sharp as I think we will be down the stretch, has been kind of exciting to talk about and think about.
You brought up the injuries or recovering from off-season surgeries, and it always leads us to Ariel Atkins, because Ariel went through the issues that she went through last year, came back and still contributed down the stretch, and this year hasn't been able to get on the floor yet because of the rehab. How's her progress? And I would imagine, knowing the competitor she's chomping at the bit to get back into a game.
She is, but I think the one thing that she did learn, because Ariel is an obsessive gym rat. So I think the one thing that she has learned is that you have to listen to your body. And if it's telling you something, then you can't just keep going to the gym and delaying your progress. So I think she's matured about all of that. So, yes, she's chomping at the bits, but I think she wants to be healthy.
Tough for last year as a freshman to understand that.
Absolutely.
This year, right?
She just thought, I can just play on this, and I think now she wants to be 100%. She wants to be healthy. So, if I projected it positively, it would be the possibility of her coming back in a week or two. But we're on the same page with wanting her to be completely healthy.
Sure.
And her health and her career is important to us, and it's important to her. So we'll let her come along as she should. But we've also got Brady,
who's about to be a college graduate. By the way,
she graduates in December, and she missed the whole summer with a similar type surgery, and she's just not back to herself yet. I mean, she doesn't get enough reps in practice, and when she does, she's just trying to get her conditioning back and trying to get sort of her mojo back, is what most people would call it, but she's not quite there yet. And I think that's really encouraging to have 2 players that were major contributors last year that haven't played hardly at all.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of other answers at guard. We're going to get to that coming up and talk more about what's ahead for this Texas women's basketball team when Longhorn Weekly, live from Plucker's West Campus location, continues in a moment. Now into the right corner to Rodrigo. Sends it inside. Bree Taylor going around the Shields. Bounce pass in the corner. How about McCarty for 3? How about it? Knocks down the 3 ball. McCarty with 6. The Longhorns lead by 8, 34-26. Welcome you back to Longhorn Weekly. And I did hint going into the break that there is a wealth of guards who are contributing there. Brooke McCarty is one of those. LaShawn Higgs, your freshman, is one of those. You've got several guards who have really stepped up and are making a difference for you right now.
Well, it's the most exciting thing about our team right now because, in the last, I would say, several years, that's been a dilemma, is not having enough guards or not having quite the talent that we needed, quite honestly, at the guard position. And I do think that we have some experienced guards in Selena Rodrigo and Empress Davenport, and then, Brooke is just so different this year, just having a year under her belt. And, it just makes a world of difference not being a freshman anymore. She carries herself different, plays with confidence, and looks like the Brooke that I knew as we were recruiting her. And then you add LaShawn Higgs in the picture, and Breonna Taylor coming back healthy. It just gives us a chance to give people totally different looks. We can go a little bit bigger or go small, and Tasia Foman comes in and gives people fits. So I love what we're able to do with our guards.
We talk about those in the greater Austin area knew about LaShawn for what she was doing at Cedar Ridge High School in the Round Rock School District. I think the way that she plays with such a heady composure on the floor as a true freshman probably is surprising. I know it didn't surprise you guys, but it's probably taken a few people by surprise, the mental approach that she's had and how she plays so far.
Well, I think what's so fascinating about LaShawn, and I say this every time someone asks me about her, I honestly don't know what she's going to do when she gets in there, and that's a good thing and a bad thing.
It's not always a great thing.
But the thing about it is she has no fear. She is, I'm not surprised at all how she played at Tennessee because she is not afraid of anything. And so sometimes I have to give her small doses because, you have to have some composure at times. But to have a guard like that is fearless and isn't afraid to I mean, going into that game, she wasn't shooting the three well and hits 2 in the first half and totally changes the game for us. So she's going to be really special. There's not any question about it.
Your guards, and you named them, but they give you different things. I mean, that's what really good teams have. But whether it's the defense from Empress or the water bug scooting through the defense like Brooke can do, or the heady play for Selena and finding people, the three-point shooting. I mean, all of those things. That's part of the key elements, is it, when you have backcourt that can do different things like that.
It is, and that was something I know you watched our team play over the last few years. And the one thing that we've struggled with is that we've had some pretty solid post play over the last few years, and there's been times that people have just chosen not to guard our guards. And I think that was the strategy going into this year, and they have sort of proved them wrong. And that was the next step I thought we needed to take to being a great team. We actually took time off this summer. We took the first session of summer school without training, didn't get up in the morning at 6 and do all that stuff everybody usually does, and I just said, y'all need to get in the gym. We need to be better as basketball players. So I gave them some freedom to just go shoot, play pickup, do the things that you do to be a better player, and I think that you can see that some of them are. They're shooting with more confidence.
You brought up Breonna Taylor. Bree, I always like to think of as a post player in a wing's body. Because she just plays with the physical nature and the ferocity of a post player to not be the tallest player on the floor.
Yeah, I can't keep her off the floor. Yet last night she got into early foul trouble, and it made me uncomfortable, because she's that one player that it doesn't matter unless it's somebody that's like 6'5" or 6, and I wouldn't put it past her to guard them. But she's someone that it doesn't matter if someone's having a good night, then you can put her on them, and she will frustrate them. And that was something I thought she and Empress Davenport was terrific last night on the Vivian's kid, who is averaging 25 almost, and was on the SEC All-Freshman team last year. The kid can really score, and I thought between Empress, Tasia, and Breonna Taylor, that girl left here knowing that she had some defense on her last night. So it was fun to watch those guys get after them.
We've talked about Amani, but you've also gotten solid post play. Kelsey Lang had a great end of this year last year. We even talked about her.
She's coming around. She had an injury. She had an injury in the summer. She broke her hand, and so it was one of those things that you can't do a whole lot. And she is she's ahead of Brady, but I feel like they're both. At some point, that light's going to come back on about where they were last year, and that's just going to make us even better. Kelsey's getting close.
Yeah, and also watching the evolution, I call it, of Sarah Haddison. What she's done since she went full-time basketball has really made a difference.
Well, she just gives us another body, and it's actually a really important body right now because of Kelsey not being completely where she was, and also Jordan Hosey, who is a freshman, we're anticipating helping also. Jordan was injured all summer, so we had several that just didn't get reps, and they didn't get conditioning work and all of those things. So when they all feel good about themselves and all get back into game shape, then I feel very confident about where our team's heading.
Now, for folks who feel that because they beat the 2 top 10 ranked schools that they defeated back-to-back games, Tennessee and Mississippi State, so okay, they're getting a soft spot of the schedule. No, I wouldn't necessarily go there.
No.
You go to Little Rock, Arkansas. For folks who don't know about Little Rock, last year, great run in the NCAA tournament, and could easily
they beat A&M on their home court last year.
Exactly, and could have been in the Sweet 16. It could have been a team that was. It's a dangerous team.
Very dangerous team. I just this morning watched the game they played Oklahoma last night, and it was really close, and actually a lot closer than the score appeared. And the guy's a great coach. He has turned down multiple high major jobs. I think he's actually a mentor of mine, and one of the best coaches that I think I've ever been around. And his teams are incredibly competitive, and they will play, a little small ball, being from a mid-major, but they'll be very similar to the team we just played last night. They may not be as big, but they will be that competitive.
All right, this is a question I ask players when they get a chance to go back to their home area to play, what it means to them. I always ask that for Texas OU week to kids from the Metroplex about going to Cotton Bowl. Does it mean something a little extra special for you to go back to your home state?
You get to see a few people you don't see very often. Ironically, last year we played in the SEC Challenge and played A&M at Arkansas and in Little Rock, and I saw people that I had not seen in 20 years. And it was so interesting to see all the people that came out, and it was fun. This will be a little bit different. It's my alma mater, and this was, I think the kids think I'm continuing to schedule us to go home where I'm from. But I keep telling them, honestly, what I did was I scheduled this game because Charlie, he'll appreciate this. I scheduled this because we were recruiting a young lady from Arkansas, and I said, I promise you we'll play in Arkansas if you'll come here. And so, unfortunately, she went to Arkansas, and we're going to see her on the 20th of December in Oklahoma City when we play Arkansas. So all these challenges have gotten me into Arkansas, but I don't mind going back home. It'll be a chance to see, obviously, my family and a lot of friends.
It'll be Sunday afternoon. It'll be a lot of fun. Thanks for dropping by tonight.
Absolutely, and I don't want to leave here without saying that our next home game is 13th. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. It's Stanford. We played Stanford Sunday, December 13th at 12 noon, and it's on an ESPN game, and we need to fill the Irwin Center for that game. We need you guys.
Hope to see everybody. A big packed house at the Irwin Center for Texas and Stanford coming up on the 13th. Stay with us. Coach Strong will rejoin us when Longhorn Weekly continues here on the Longhorn Network and the Longhorn IMG Radio Network.